All right, and we are recording. Hey, everybody, it's Dave. Today is, what is it, May 7th? May 7th today, I think. Team call, huge announcement on Friday, which is really what we're going to focus on and talk about today. And I'm going to share some resources that I think will help you keep up with things. On Friday, Facebook, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Facebook had their annual conference, F8, and where they announced some pretty sweeping changes to Facebook and Instagram and Messenger. I always think of Facebook and Messenger as one thing, but they're not. And it's weird the way things are separating out more between the two and yet becoming more integrated. It's really interesting. But Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the changes. I probably won't talk about changes to WhatsApp at all. I'm going to give you the information where you can find that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Instagram because not a lot is changing. It's just some additional functionality and stuff that doesn't necessarily apply to us. Like pretty soon in Instagram, if you see whatever, an influencer wearing a cool hat or something, you'll be able to click a button and buy the hat right through Instagram, which is really cool and awesome, but not necessarily applies to us. So a couple things at the outset. This is, in the 15-year life of Facebook, only the 5th major overhaul they have done. They make little changes here and there and little tweaks, and some of what we're going to talk about today affects those things. There's some stuff that like maybe they've added over the course of the last year, like social learning, that is changing, and there's some potential to kind of get screwed over that I want to make sure I'm highlighting for you. So that's why we got to show everything today. The last major update that happened, I was going through a kind of a dramatic life change and didn't pay attention to it. And all of a sudden, everything changed and everything looked different. And Messenger became much more functional. And I felt like ever since then, I've just kind of been playing catch up. And so I was actually really excited to see that they were going to really fundamentally overhaul everything, because it gave me a good opportunity to make sure that I'm ahead of the curve. And not, behind it, which is never a good place to be. I always want to be out ahead of the curve. I'd much rather, I remember in 2011, I did a call like this for Google+. And I told you guys Google+ is the next huge thing. And then, of course, they've now closed Google+. Didn't end up being the next big thing. I would much rather roll the dice and take a chance on something like Google+, which Facebook is not Google+, obviously. But these changes are rather sweeping. I'd much rather be that guy than be left behind and trying to figure things out 6 months from now and being frustrated because things have changed and I'm not interacting with Facebook in the right way. So hopefully that makes some sense. First, I want to share my screen real quick, and I want to start with this quote. I read this as I was getting ready for this, and I thought this really kind of is super interesting. This is from a website called TechCrunch. And here's what it says. In Facebook's dreams, it's a clean and private place. People spend their time having thoughtful discussions in meaningful groups, planning offline meetups with events, or laughing together in a Facebook watch party. In reality, Facebook's a cluttered mess of features that seem to constantly leak user data. People waste their time viewing inane newsfeed posts from friends they never talk to, enviously stalking through photos of peers, or chowing on clickbait articles and viral videos in isolation. Facebook will never shake this reputation if it keeps polishing its old features, which is what it's been doing for the last 5 years. That's the last time they updated Facebook, was 5 years ago. That's why Facebook is rolling out what could be called an aspirational redesign known as FB5. Rather than polishing what Facebook was, it tries to spotlight what it wants to be. The biggest change we've made to the Facebook app and site in 5 years, CEO Mark Zuckerberg said at Open the conference yesterday. So I shared that with you because when I read that, I thought that is absolutely 100% spot on. Facebook tells you what they want to be, but it hasn't been that. Instead, it's been exactly what that article summarized it to. This is designed to change that and to have us interact with each other very, very differently, much more in the aspirational way than the way we actually do, which is people just scrolling their news feed, reading bullshit and fighting with each other. That seems to be kind of what Facebook, unfortunately, certainly became in 2016 during the election. Facebook became a battleground. That was really sad because for me, Facebook is my home. Over the years, I've had a lot of different places that I would consider my social media home or where I conduct business, recruit. Facebook is by far the biggest one of those. And that's one of the reasons I'm not going to talk too much about Instagram. What I'd rather do is have somebody like Mike Karpinko, for example, look at what's changing with Instagram and give you some better insights because Facebook is really my home. Okay. So that's what we're going to focus on today, but I'm going to give you some resources. So second thing I'm going to share with the chat right now is a link, and I will just include this when I post the recording of the call. A link to essentially my notes is really what it is. And this document will change over time. So you can probably keep going back to it as a resource, but let me just share that with the chat. So if you're kind of following me, you want to click on that. It's a Google Drive document. And again, it's my notes. So here's what I've done over the Sunday and yesterday, and then a little bit this morning, is I watched the F8 keynote, which is like an hour and 45-minute deal. Watching the Instagram, WhatsApp stuff, but kind of really focusing on Facebook. Then I watched about an hour and a half of Mari Smith. Mari is probably I think she's the most comprehensive, dialed in Facebook focused trainer that there is. Hour and a half of her with the whole F8 thing, including Instagram and WhatsApp. And then one this morning that's more like 45 minutes, just specifically focused on groups. Okay. Ton of valuable information there. I'd love for you guys to watch that. I understand not everybody has, what is that, like 5 hours? 5 hours to learn about this stuff. So what I'm trying to do is condense it for you. So I'll show you what that document links to. That's the wrong thing, share screen. And again, it's a really simple Google document. Let me just kind of give you the structure first, and then we'll get into the meat of it. It's a really simple document. This is a 12-minute summary of what happened at F8, okay? This is the 145-minute F8 presentation. And what I did was just get time stops, right? So at the 15:26 mark, they talk about Instagram. If that's what you really care about, you can just go here and click on that. It'll take you straight to the discussion of Instagram. Same thing with Messenger and everything that changed here. Same thing with the FB5 updates. What's going on with groups? That starts at 34:17, right? Meet new friends, Instagram updates. I did not include the new dating app that they're going to be running, but there's information about a new dating app that they're running there too, which is kind of cool. This Meet New Friends is actually really interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then if we keep going down, this is their blog post that they put out to kind of summarize what was going on. This is the Mari Smith's first Facebook Live that she did. These are my notes from that Facebook Live, which is kind of what I'm going to really focus on today and give you some key tips. Then this is the second live that she did that was focused on groups. We'll talk about some of that stuff as well. There are changes coming to groups and some stuff that I'm going to recommend you do fairly urgently. So let's kind of just get into it. One of the things I thought was super interesting about F8 is if you look at the way they structure things, because they're very intentional at Facebook. They don't just kind of go like, I don't know, what should we start with? Messenger. No, they start with the end in mind, and they prioritize their presentation in F8 with what's going to be important and what's changing. They started with Messenger, and even despite the fact they started with Messenger, despite the fact Messenger's not, it's going to change. There are changes coming to Messenger, but Messenger, the changes that are coming to Facebook are sweeping. They didn't start with that. You completely overhaul your platform, and you don't start there. It wasn't even second. Instagram was second. That's interesting. Maybe I need to pay more attention to Instagram. Is what I heard there. But let me tell you one of the things that really struck me. After Zucks came out and gave his thing, which was like, he's so dry when he speaks too, but basically where he started was, we need to restructure everything around privacy. And he kind of compares Facebook and Messenger and Instagram and WhatsApp to the real world. And it's like, look, there's stuff that you do in public. The town square was kind of what he said, right? And then there's stuff that you do with small groups of people getting together and having a dinner party, or even getting together and going out to eat, right? And then there's stuff that you do alone or even in smaller groups, right? Like there's a difference between going out to dinner with a group of 10 friends and going on a date with your wife or significant other, right? There's a huge difference between those things and interacting in this public space. And they want to make those things more like, make Facebook more like real world interactions, okay? Which is not what it is now. So after that, they brought up the product manager for Messenger, and they started with Messenger. Here's what she said, okay? In effect, I'm paraphrasing here, but what she said was, if we had a chance to design this again and start over from scratch, go back 15 years, knowing what we know now, and we had a chance to design this again, we would design it around Messenger. Messenger would be the name that you know, not Facebook. Isn't that interesting? They completely overhaul the format. And they're going to start with Messenger? That's interesting. That's interesting to me. There are some very, very cool changes coming to Messenger, by the way. I would love it for you to kind of go and look at those things. Just to summarize a little bit of Messenger, Messenger is going to become more like, I don't know if you're a Mac user or not, so I'll just show you on my computer. On Mac, I have Messages, which is like a separate, these are my text messages, right? Messenger is going to become like that. It's going to become a standalone app, right? And so now, you access it through a desktop browser. Now it's going to become a standalone app. And by doing that, it's going to become faster. It's also going to become more secure. So I don't know the details of the encryption, but they talked a lot. Both Zuckerberg and the Messenger product manager, Asha, I think is her name, both talked about encryption being a key element of Messenger, right? And that it's not super secure right now. Facebook can see what you're posting, and so can government with the proper, authority, with the proper permissions. WhatsApp, on the other hand, WhatsApp is totally encrypted. There's good and bad things there, right? That's how kind of a lot of terrorists have learned to communicate, because it's totally encrypted stuff. But what does it tell you? It tells you that when Messenger becomes more secure, more people are going to use Messenger, okay? Other things that are going to happen within Messenger, just a couple like little things that you look for. Things like, let me just go to my notes. So you'll be able to create these private watch parties. So now, like if I was doing a live, right, you could say, hey, I'm having a watch party, and I could get a bunch of people to watch it all together, and I could see who's watching it, and they could invite their friends to the watch party. Those things are going to happen within Messenger as well. So in addition to what happens in regular Facebook. Why? Because that's the same as like the town square has the watch party, right? We can also have a watch party with the 10 people that we go to that dinner party with, or with the 2 people who are out on date night together, all right? So these private watch parties, I don't know how big of a thing that is for me. I don't do a lot of that, but it's interesting. The other thing that's really interesting is that they said close connections are built on Messenger, and they're going to build a dedicated space to discover stories and content with what they called close friends. Close friends, this is where they sort of are leading. This is changes we're going to see in the future. If I get permission, right, and we're close friends, and I think that's what they're going to call it, is close friends. If we're close friends, I can message you on Instagram through Messenger. That'll be part of the functionality. I can discover all kinds of stuff, and we'll have the ability to share all kinds of stuff that maybe I don't want to share in the town square, right? Like recently, there have been some coaches who have concerns. They're mostly kind of the higher profile social media, mostly on Instagram, about like posting pictures of their kids because there's creepy people that are hanging out saying things to them. I don't ever have that experience, but I get it. I understand it. And it's going to be really cool to have some additional functionality to be able to say, I don't need to post this picture to the town square and tell everybody I'm currently on vacation, so go rob my house, right? That's a little bit of an extreme example. But instead, I could post it through Messenger to the 10 people that I go to the dinner with, right? Some different functionality using Messenger to connect with people. Another thing they're going to do, they're going to create lead generation templates for those of you guys who run Facebook ads. They're going to create lead generation templates that run through Messenger. So Messenger has some potential if you have an opt-in, okay? And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but if you have an opt-in, You have some opportunities to run ads through Messenger in the future. That is something that we want to be really careful with. I think, and Mari Smith talked about this, I think there's a real danger to people looking at Messenger and going, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just take my old email marketing campaign and I'll put it all on Messenger. That's not going to work. Okay. It's just not going to work. And I think if Coca-Cola starts advertising to me through Messenger, they're off I'm out. That's not where I want to hear about that. It's just not where I want to hear about that type of stuff. As marketers, we have to be conscious that we run the same risks that Coca-Cola does of inappropriately marketing to people. Now, does that mean that they shouldn't be able to say, oh, well, yeah, your newsletter's totally cool and my email inbox is totally stuffed. I'd actually rather get it via Messenger. And that's something we're going to look at doing, is starting to deliver our newsletter via Messenger, okay? Because with permissions, like with some real clear, like, hey, would you rather have this here or here? You pick. If you want it in Messenger, I'm going to give it to you. The ability to book appointments. This put a big smile on my face. As many of you guys know, I have a lot of busy call schedule throughout the week. I use a scheduling thing that's okay. I had another one, but it was they like doubled the price on it and they added all this functionality I didn't want. So I canceled that and I have another one. So I book appointments and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be able to book appointments just right through Messenger. Like here it is, this link to my Google Calendar, book an appointment. Easy, because I hated that dance of back and forth of how's Tuesday at 10? No, I can't. I've got this, and how's Wednesday at 3? You know, and that back and forth, I don't have any time for that bullshit. So being able to do it through Messenger is really, really cool. Another thing is they've made some changes to chatbot broadcasts. I'm not going to get into chatbots right now. Chatbots is something I'm really looking at as the next sort of evolution of where I want to take our marketing, is into this chatbot world. If you don't know what a chatbot is, I'll briefly explain. It's just an automated response system that has some if-then logic. So for example, as just a low-hanging fruit example, one of the things that happens a lot with the email marketing offer we have is coaches get in there. We don't have a way to filter them out other than in the email, maybe just saying like, hey, if you're a coach, talk to your coach, right? I don't really have a way to filter people unless they're asking me for something, right? And once they ask me for something, then I can say, hey, answer their question or whatever, and then just real quick, hey, are you working with a coach? What a chatbot would allow me to do is to say early on in the interaction, are you a coach or are you working with a coach? And then yes or no. Okay, if they answer yes, it leads them down one path, which may be to just, if I'm offering a free video on something or a free meal plan or something like that, I'll give them the free thing. I don't care. It's not that free thing is not why I'm there. I'm there because I want to find prospects, right? Customers and coaches. So if you have the ability to do that now, if they say no, I know I'm not dealing with a coach. I know I'm not dealing with somebody who has a coach. I might be dealing with somebody who has a Team Beachbody account or a bot account, doesn't know they have a coach, but they're not connected with anybody. So I don't have to worry about stepping on somebody else's toes. Just a really easy way to filter people out early. Chatbots give you the opportunity to do that. We're going to talk a lot more about chatbots in the future as I sort of work my way through getting it all set up. It's kind of a lot of work, but very, very cool. What does all this tell me? Okay, well, what am I doing? Let's talk more about that. Tactical stuff, strategic stuff. What am I doing? The first thing I am doing is I am directing all of my communications to Messenger. Everything. That's how you get a hold of me now, is through Messenger. And it's how most people do anyway. Most of you guys don't send me an email anymore. You send me a Facebook message. 4 years ago, I hated that. And 4 years ago, I would have probably just told you, send me an email. I wanted to push everybody to email. Part of the reason for that, well, there's a couple of reasons, which I don't necessarily need to get into, but I was working on YouTube and Twitter and all these different places, and I had messages and Instagram, and there's messages everywhere, and it was driving me freaking crazy, and I was missing a lot of stuff. And I hate missing things. If you send me a message, I want to make sure I'm responsive to that, whether you're a coach, customer, friend, whatever. So Messenger didn't have that functionality. It was just like, once you looked at a message, you couldn't mark it as unread. Something as simple as that, which is how I maintain my inbox. If I go to my inbox and it's unread, yeah, I either need to delete it because it's garbage, or it's something I got to go do. That's as simple as that is how I manage my inbox. Messenger has all that functionality now, It also has functionality that I don't have in via email, like the ability to start a video call with you and just do a video call. Okay, Zoom's going to be obsolete pretty soon. Hope Zoom doesn't hear that, because I do like Zoom, except for today when it didn't work. But Messenger has so much more functionality, and if it's encrypted and, you know, on some level, then I don't have to worry about sending sensitive communications. Messenger is going to replace text messaging. Someday, I believe that Messenger will replace text messaging because it's more functional, it's faster, and it's better, and more people have it. That Apple thing I showed you on my Mac only works if you have an iPhone. I have a lot of friends who don't have iPhones. Actually, I don't have that many friends. I have one friend. It drives me nuts because I can't communicate with him via that app, because I like to sit here in front of my computer all day. I can do that with Messenger. I can do that with Messenger, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get more functional, and it's going to have all this other stuff that email doesn't have and text messaging doesn't have. So to get ahead of the curve, all of my communications go to Messenger now. It's going to take a little while to convert that over. Now, I want to show you, let's share my screen again. And beyond that, beyond that, it's not just Messenger, but it's my page. That's what I want to use as much as possible, is my page. Let's get this crap up here that's totally in my way. Get out of my way. Okay, we can look there. It didn't work. So let me just show you really quickly. This is my Facebook page. This is my Facebook page. Couple things that we'll talk about. First of all, I linked my group just this morning, and I'll talk about that, probably show you how to do it here in just a moment. But whoops, that's not the right thing. So you can message me really easily, right? Just by clicking contact us, you know, that sort of thing. But I actually have everybody has a link, and it looks like this. This is your link as well as my link. Mine says Fit Club Network. Yours says whatever your page is. Okay, m.me/the Fit Club Network. If I click on this, boom, it opens Messenger. Okay, I can send that link anywhere. I can include it on my website, which is what I'm doing right now. Include it on my website, in my email correspondence with people, like the newsletter that we send out every other week. Instead of reply to this email, I'm encouraging them to message me here, so I can get as many people on Messenger as I possibly can, specifically to my page. Why? More functionality with the page to manage customers' prospects, okay? So one-on-one, you know, Lee was on earlier. If Lee wants to message me, whatever, message me at the Dayboard account, doesn't matter. But for customers or prospects, people who have interests, right, people I'm trying to serve, I need a way to keep an eye on those people and to manage them better. And the page opens up a lot of options, okay? Connecting a CRM like My Connection Builder is kind of the big obvious one. It also gets them into that chatbot world, okay? And gets them into that ability to send, you know, communications, again, if they've allowed me to have those permissions, to send them communications that I can't do via email. I can't do, and well, I can do it via email, but it's clunky. Right? It's clunky. No one wants clunky. If I send you a big long email and you're busy, you might might open it, scan it, and forget about it. Even though you may go, oh, that looks great, but just forget about it because it's email, because you've got 100 of them and you don't want to deal with it. But if I send you a message and say, hey, is this a good time to send you a message? And it's not, you can just say no, right? If it is, you can say yes, and then we can have a conversation. Right? Because it's back and forth. It's more real time. It's entirely different. So I'm taking, long story short, my main response to what I have seen in the last couple of days is I'm pushing all my communications to Messenger. That's where I really want my hub to be. Okay. And that is a big change for me from where I was at several years ago when, you know, they launched Messenger and I was like, this sucks. You can't do anything with it. Now you really, really can. So that's really the first major thing, is just understanding that not only, I think, is Messenger gaining a little bit of functionality, some new stuff, some cool stuff that you can do with it, but when Facebook overhauls their main baby and they start with Messenger, that's where the world is moving to. Okay, I just know that. Again, it wasn't even second. It was Messenger, Instagram, then Facebook. that signals something serious to me. So I'm taking them at their word. And I'm taking that seriously, that there's a reason that they bury the lead. And it's because Messenger is actually more important than what's happening on Facebook and the changes that are happening on Facebook. So that's my first, hopefully helpful, big piece of advice. If you're not using Messenger, start. I'm sure you are in some capacity, but I also know myself, I have this real fractured thing where Messenger is more for like, more of my personal communications, and personal communications would include communications with you guys, right? But I'm acting as Dave Ward, your coach or your friend, right? Or both, hopefully. I'm talking about acting more like the Fit Club Network, a business operating business. That stuff I do on email still. And I need to make that, there's a shift that's happening for me. And this is why, because I believe in what's going on here. I believe this is really revolutionary. So that's, where do I want to start with this next one? Let's talk about FB5. So again, for Instagram, there are some Instagram changes that are coming. I don't have notes on those really. Again, I'll just touch on it really quickly. Key things that I remember and saw, I mentioned earlier, pretty soon you're going to have the ability to create a shopping cart. This isn't really applicable to us. So if you're one of those Instagram influencers, the example they showed was like, some fashionable lady, and she's walking through and it's got little hyperlinks to buy the clothing she's wearing. Okay. It was like an H&M ad. And it was like, you can buy and it was just like click through. It was like, buy this scarf, boom, straight to a shopping cart and purchase right through Instagram. That's pretty slick. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure how it helps you guys become better coaches and retain more people. Now, if there's a way we can take advantage of that, cool. We'll do that when we can do that. Other things, changes to the camera. Stories, for those of you guys who are big into stories, which is something I certainly need to get more into. They're changing the camera. They're going to make the creation process much more vivid, much more robust. That's just going to get better and better and better. So if you're already doing that, you're on the right path right there, because it's just going to keep getting more and more functional with things that you can do. So that's pretty cool. The other one is changes to the messaging function, the direct messaging through Instagram. Again, this is sort of linking it with Messenger. I think long-term, you're going to see an integration between Messenger and Instagram and WhatsApp, and it's going to go like that. And my prediction is it will all happen through Messenger. Just a prediction. We'll see where things end up, but that's what I think is going to happen. And they kind of talked about that. It seems to be this close friends thing. Like if we all have the right permissions and we're all close friends, then I can send messages across platform. That sounds like they're going to integrate everything into Messenger to me, which is probably why I'm going all in with this. So those are some of the Instagram changes. Let's talk about the new version of Facebook and groups. And we'll just kind of do that discussion together. So I'm going to share my phone. So, and by the way, FB5. So today is May 7th. That's why I led with the date. FB5 is available now on mobile. It will be available on desktop in a few months, which tells me that it's going to be a rollout. So there's some things I think you want to do now to make sure that when the things roll out, everything's cool. And we'll talk about those as well. But let's run through, I'll give you a look at it on the old phone. All right, so hopefully this looks okay and doesn't look weird. I think you're probably just able to see the phone. Just want to make sure I've got like a, kind of a background that isn't busy. But anyway, I think you can just see the phone anyway, so I think that's fine. I, of course, need my glasses because I'm blind, which is why I like working on a desktop. I hate working on my phone. So you can see kind of major changes here to the way the app looks, right? Like A, it's not blue. It's predominantly white. And B, you've got at the top of the screen, you've got the stories, right? Stories much more prominently featured here, which is another sort of clue, you've got to get into stories. Down at the bottom, this blue guy here, you can see, this is the homepage. This is a news feed. Newsfeed has changed a little bit, but not tremendously. You're going to see your friends and kind of their posts in here. Here's Watch. Watch is black screen, or what do they call it? Dark mode on desktop. But this is where you're going to find your videos. They're trying to clean up the news feed is a lot of what's going on here. This is me, or no, I'm sorry, that's me, the little circle. So this is my, you know, just my personal page here, or profile, whatever we want to call it. This is groups. Here's what's interesting. What this is a news feed of groups. That's what this is. And there's a couple of things that are kind of interesting about it. But what it does is it pulls group posts out of newsfeed into group newsfeed. Okay, that's the way to think about this thing, is you have now a separate newsfeed for groups. So if you click on, whoops, not that one, this one, this home button, right, far lower left, we shouldn't be seeing stuff from groups in here. And I haven't like policed this because again, I'm just kind of getting going with it. This should be ads first, right? Ads and friends should be here. So there's, and that's a page, and pages. This should be ads, pages, friends. That should be what I'm seeing here, okay? And then that's what I'm seeing here. Entire meal prep for a week eaten by Tuesday. I'll have to share that with my group later. That's funny. Groups, on the other hand, is the groups. All right? So I like that a lot. As we go to the top, here's your groups, right? These are the groups that I'm in. The first thing I see there is the number 73, and I have a list of to-do items, which I'm going to give to you at the end of this thing. One of them is get the hell out of so many of these groups. I am in way too many groups, and I certainly have notifications on in way too many groups. So I'm going to be doing an audit later today, and part of what I'm going to do is leave groups that are just sort of irrelevant or that don't add anything or that I keep snoozing. Part of what I'm going to do is turn off notifications or, you know, these sort of active push things, because it's just way too much crap coming at me. Discover. So that's the second button. Sorry. These buttons along the top, there's some slideys, right? Your group settings, then discover. This is cool. This is cool. I don't know if Lee's still on. She said she was going out to lunch with Jeff, but here's, you know, but Lee's already a member of the Vizsla Doggo. Lee and I both own Vizslas. A couple of you, other you guys do too. What's this telling me? It's like, hey, you really dig Vizslas. Here's a new group that you might want to check out. And I actually do like the Vizsla groups. They're cute. But, you know, some other stuff, Dads Who Live, Rhodesian Ridgebacks doesn't really apply, although they're kind of related. I could click See All here, and it's going to tell me, like, here's the unofficial Padres group, which is kind of cool. I'm actually just going to go ahead and join that. Yep. Nope. And why am I joining a Padre group? Because I'm a Padre fan and I am a ticket holder. And I'm finding that is a easy way to start discussions with people, right? All kinds of other groups here, surfing groups, stuff I'm interested in. This is way more accurate than what we have now, which is that sort of crap on the sidebar and desktop that is always trying to get me to join some meathead group that, you know, with some dude he's like 5'2", weighs 300 pounds, has no neck, and he's just like this like a fire plug full of muscle. I don't care about that. It's not interesting to me. This is actually some interesting stuff right here at surfing, right? They've done a much better job of figuring out who I am, what I like, and what kind of groups I would maybe want to be a part of. Okay, so again, that's under Discover. I wonder how I back out of that. I guess I just go there, right? But there's all kinds of other stuff. It's like, okay, you're looking for a group about faith and spirituality or business or style or, you know, humor or whatever. Civics and community. This is where all these, I'm in a way too many local groups. I gotta edit that. Here's some groups that my friends are in. That's kind of cool. Like, you know, all right, we got some new stuff. Insanity instructors, you know, obviously with lots of challenge group type stuff. But, you know, here's some San Diego stuff, some local stuff. The goals are the local minor league hockey team. It's interesting. Why is it? Look at the time. That's weird. It's 11:42 here. And my phone is telling me, and this is just the Facebook app. No, it's not. My phone settings are wrong. Okay. I guess that's weird, though, that they have never been wrong before. So something's going on there. Okay. So anyway, that's groups. That's discover groups. I'm going to stop sharing. So go back to my notes. A couple of other things really important about groups. Okay. Obviously, there's a new position for groups. Oh, I was going to show you. I know what I was going to show you. Sorry, guys. I spaced it. I was going to show you the desktop. I don't have it yet. I just have a screenshot of it. So I'll just show you the screenshot. Pretty similar to what you see. And this is Mari Smith, who's the trainer that I talk about. I just took this from her live that she did. You can kind of see, I wish I could scroll through this, but it's the same sort of thing. Home button, notifications. Notifications are changing as well. I don't know that I can show you that, but Mari Smith's got a whole kind of walkthrough, and they did one at F8 too. Notifications get much slicker. They're all here. And when you click on this, it launches them right here. And if this was a comment from a friend on a recent post, if I clicked on it, that post would come up right here. So it's not like now where there's a drop down. You click on the thing and then it takes you to that page. It's all going to be right here. Really going to be much easier to deal with notifications and see whether it's something you even care about and need to deal with. And if you do, it'll be right here in this middle screen. Pretty slick. This is watch. It goes to dark mode on desktop. This is me. In this case, it's somebody else, obviously, but this is me. This is Marketplace. Marketplace is becoming much more robust. There are changes to, if you're in, like I am, like a yard sale group or an online sales group, there are big changes coming to that. It will integrate with Marketplace much slicker. And in the future, there's going to be ability to just do that click-through purchase. Same thing. They're even creating like shipping and stuff. I'm not getting into all that because it doesn't really apply to us unless you're selling, I don't know, Shakeology bags or something. Groups, again, and then here's my link to Messenger. You can see, again, the stories. What's up top? What's up top? Stories. Okay, most important thing. That's what they want people focused on. So that's kind of the new layout of FB5 once we get it on desktop. Couple of different things about groups now, moving to groups. And again, like you got to like think about how they're thinking about it. Town square, public, 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 small group of people getting together for dinner, a group, two people having a group or messenger, both. Two group of people, more of a messenger thing, okay? This is the group of people going to dinner together. It's groups, okay? Which is where I think we have to be thinking. That's what they want. In the past, Facebook's been all about this town square, which is more Instagram-y, right? They want people interacting on this level, okay? Yeah, no worries, Tiffany. We'll have the recording up. They want people interacting on this level, the dinner party, okay? That's what they want. That's their aspiration, okay? Where does that happen? It happens in groups. So what's changing? There are some changes that are coming to groups, though, and we need to be aware of. The first thing is reach stats. We now have insights. That's changing to reach stats. It's going to be much more robust, much, much better. I use that as a way to acknowledge the top most active people in the group. There's a lot of other stuff you're going to be able to do with it. There's going to be a boost button, okay, where you can promote your group. So if you're running a new challenge group, one of the things you're going to be able to do here is promote it by promoting your group. Join my group, right? That's kind of cool. That's very cool, actually. It was really clumsy to do that before. You had to do it through a page, and it was really clumsy. For those of you who run Facebook ads, one of the cool things you're going to be doing that I've wanted to do for years is create a lookalike audience using your Facebook group. So if you're an admin of a Facebook group, what you'll be able to do is go, hey, my group is really cool. It's got a bunch of cool people in it. We all have things in common that I'm maybe not able to pin down, but Facebook can. Create a lookalike audience for me. And then I'm going to promote my next challenge group to that lookalike audience. So what, we bring in the same type of people. That sounds really cool to me. I like that feature a lot, but it's more of an ad thing, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it. I already talked about the ability to find groups and how more functional that's going to get, and the ability to dig in and search in those by category, right? Like whatever, faith and spirituality, and within that, you know, whatever your faith and spirituality is, and within that, like, is there a local group? It drills down like that. It's really pretty cool. I haven't messed with it a whole lot because, again, I just got the app the other day. Group types. This is the big one. Okay. This is where I need you to pay attention and take some action here relatively quickly. So this is kind of, again, from my notes. I have this post that I copied and pasted from Mari. They're changing group types. Okay. So right now there's these 13 groups: close friends, clubs, events, plans, blah, 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 blah. Many of you have your groups set up on some form of these. Okay. And this is what I'm going to have you check. I'll show you how to do it in just a second. If your group is set up as a team, a support, a study group, any of these groups that have the X next to them, they're going to become general groups. Now, what we're hearing about general groups is general groups will have most of the functionality that these other groups had. But then they're going to have general groups, and these are going to be really the groups. Okay, they're going to be adding these groups to a short list of some other ones as well. But a general group, all the defaults that you have now, right? Jobs, this is job search thing. I don't think we need to deal with that. That might be an interesting deal for a sneak peek group. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Let's see what it looks like. Kind of interesting. I don't think it applies. It sounds more like LinkedIn to me, but we'll see. Health and support. I was really excited when I heard about health and support groups. I think the functionality of a health and support group primarily is going to be the ability for people to ask questions anonymously. So as an example, if there was a group that was a health support group for irritable bowel syndrome, right? And I've had a rather embarrassing, I don't have irritable bowel syndrome, by the way, but I've had a rather embarrassing event or series of events or health concern or whatever that I don't want to say, hey, Dave Ward suffers from this and post it in the group, but I do need some answers and I need some help, and the group knows what's going on. Maybe there's a doctor in there, right? And I can anonymously post. The admin has to approve that post, and then it can go into the group and other people can comment on it, but they don't know it's me, all right? That seems to be the primary functionality of a health support group. So I think that's cool. I'm not too excited about it for what we do. Here's what I want to highlight, okay? The other type of groups are general, see above, buy and sell groups. We already talked about that, the yard sale type groups. Social learning, a lot of us have those set up, and I'm going to show you that in a second. And gaming things. I'm not going to talk about gaming because that's not what we're here to do. Talk about social learning. So in doing so, I want you to take a look at the Fit Club Network Coaches Group, okay? This is the Fit Club Network Coaches Group. If I click more and I click Edit Group Settings, it's going to tell me that it's set up as a social learning group. Okay, now what does that allow me to do? What that allows me to do, and by the way, if you need to change this really quickly, because if you have social learning and it's not set as a social learning group, maybe it's set up as a school or a team or any of the other ones that would allow you to have units, which is what I have, and it's not social learning, I would change that right now. Okay, there's potential that your group is set up as a team page maybe, and you've got units and learning set up, and they convert it to general group and you lose all that content. That would suck, okay? So don't let that happen. You can change it right here. Pretty easy to change, right? I'm not gonna do it. And when you do that, make sure you scroll all the way down and click save. A very important step there, clicking save. Here's what social learning allows you to do. It allows you to go to the learning tab, and we have in the coaches group, we have the first 30 trainings set up in here. A lot of people, this is where they do it. They'd rather interact via Facebook than they would go to a third-party website. I don't care. I just want them to get the training. But if I don't make that change, and ours was set up as social learning anyway, but if it was set up as a team page, for example, and I didn't make that change, I might lose all this stuff. It's kind of interesting. You'll start to see this. This says learning. If I go over to my challenge group, it says units. It's the same thing. Pretty much the same exact thing. Why are they calling it different things? Because they're changing it. In short, it's a glitch in the matrix, which means they're changing stuff, which means you don't want to lose your content, okay? I don't know whether that's going to happen. You would think they would have the foresight to see that this is what's happening, and if there are units or learning set up in there, and it's all going to be called learning in the future. If there's learning set up in there, don't delete my stuff, but this is a major overhaul. You have some potential to lose some stuff. So the easy way to do that, just change your group to a social learning group, okay? It's super easy to do, and you'll avoid this problem if you have learning. And I tend to think that's a good thing to do just anyway. You should be able to change it later, but you know, we'll see. Okay, what's next? That is really important, these group changes. Okay, already kind of talked about these things. Oh, one of the big questions I had was, how are pages changing? Right? Like, you're changing everything. What are you guys doing with pages specifically? Because that's a very important asset for me. As far as I can tell, not much. Not much. One of the things I did, I'll show you real quick, after listening to Mari, was I linked my challenge group. Let's go back to the Facebook page. I linked my group and I made sure this was super prominent. I hadn't done that before because I had heard some advice that it wasn't a good thing to do. And she talked about that in the groups thing. And she said, no, I don't believe that at all. I think with increased functionality with groups, including reach statistics and boost, you want your group attached. And I actually moved this. Not only did I create this and do it, but I moved it up. And I'll just show you really quickly how to do that. Under settings and templates and tabs, just kind of go down here and you can kind of see what you've got set up here, right? Like this is a link. I guess this is just our share services tab, but this is not a very good example. Whoops. Okay, cancel. You know, maybe photos, right? Do I want to feature photos? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But these are just kind of drag ups, right? You can just drag them up. And then if it's not here, you go all the way down to the bottom, add tab. So groups wasn't there. So I added a tab for groups and then I linked it to the Insane Ward, which is our challenge group. And then when you go back to your page, boom, there it is, second, right? And I can share the group from here to my page. And again, I could boost that if I wanted to in the future. I don't know that it's gonna let me do it right now. Mari yeah, see, there's no boost option right now. So many pages is the other thing I need to do is get rid of some of these pages. But I could create a challenge group post about the group, which is pretty cool. And I couldn't do that before because I didn't know I could link it there. So I learned something new today and put it into action, which is kind of cool. Okay, let me go back to my notes and make sure I got it. Okay, so let me give you the audit, all right? The list of things to do in your audit. The first thing is what I said. If you're a member of that many groups, I'm 79 groups away. I don't need to be a member of 79 groups. I know a lot of them are crap. Turn them off, leave them, whatever. Next thing is to edit your friends list, okay? And I talk about this a fair amount in our coaches group, but you have to take control over your newsfeed. If you don't, it will take control over you. There's a couple of different things you can do in order to have that happen. The first one, I'll just click home. And again, I'm using the old one here, but Kiana's a friend of mine. I don't want to use her as an example. I don't you know, like this ad, I literally hate HostGator. I almost sued them at one point. They're advertising to me. I don't want that. That's irrelevant to me. Go away. And they keep coming. It keeps coming back. See, again, this is the old one. So the old one, I'm in this group, the local group, and it's showing up here in my main newsfeed because this is still FB4, right? But let's say that group is really boring me to death. I can click these little dots, and maybe it's just this guy in the group. This actually is a guy. That's such a bad example because he lives right underneath my mom, and he's actually really cool. So I'm not going to do this to him. And I do like this group. I find they have some helpful stuff. But I could snooze him for 30 days. I could hide every post that he posts. I could snooze this group. I could get out of the group, right? These are the things you got to do to take control of your newsfeed. If you start seeing stuff you don't want to see, you've got to take control of it and get rid of it, right? So I'm looking for something that I don't want to see. MMA, again, I don't give a shit about MMA. I don't like MMA. And, you know, sorry if that offends you, but I just don't. It's okay if you don't like golf. So irrelevant, right? I got to do that on the fly. That's stuff I got to do on the fly to make sure that my newsfeed stays relevant, because Facebook's constantly watching this stuff. It's constantly going, like in the example of Robert Sullivan and Coronado Happenings, it's constantly going like, okay, there's something about, again, bad example, but if this guy was bothering me, there's something about him, or there's something about this group, or both of them that you don't want to see. So we're going to try and figure out what you want to see. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so that's the first thing, is taking control of that. And again, you don't have to unfriend people. You could just, and he's not even a friend, but you could just unfollow them, and that's okay. And they don't get a notification. They have no clue you're doing any of that. The only time they know is if you unfriend them. Now, let me show you the other thing that you've got to do. This is just a must. You have to do this, okay? If you don't do this, you're not using Facebook. Just forget about it, because it's not going to work for you. It'll drive you crazy. Settings, okay? So again, the drop down, go to settings, ads. This is where all these ads come through. I bet I'm going to find some MMA crap in here, because why is ESPN showing me MMA stuff other than I went to ESPN yesterday to look at something totally unrelated. News and entertainment. Now, I've been doing a pretty good job of editing this, but I guarantee you're going to see, and I don't like NBC University. Just click on it, it goes away, right? Business and industry. Mari Smith. They added Mari Smith because I've been watching a lot of Mari Smith over the last couple of days. That's brand new. That was not there before, okay? Even though I am actually interested. So what do? I leave that there. If there was crap I wasn't interested, I could go through this thing and find wacky stuff. It's like, calcium. Like literally, it'll say stuff like that, and like places I've never been, don't want to go to, all kinds of stuff. Let's see what else, see if I can find anything that's really crazy. Orienteering. That's actually kind of interesting. It's new, but okay, fine. Camping, cycling, Petco Park, that's where the Padres play, San Diego State, where I went to school. That's okay. Flight. Really? I don't care, Do it yourself? Yeah. Mercedes-Benz Sprinters for sure. People. I care about all these people. More. Don't forget the more button, okay? Travel. Four-wheel drive. I guess I'll leave that one. Food and drink. Eating. That's just a stupid category. But they're just using it to direct ads at me. That's all this is. Okay, so you got to go through here, and you got to edit this stuff, and you got to do it fairly, like nutrient. This is going to lead to a bunch of nonsense, okay? So you'll see when you go, if you haven't done this before, you're going to be stunned, and it's going to explain exactly why Facebook looks so stupid for you, because you haven't edited this stuff. And if you don't do it, you just get irrelevant content left and right, because it constantly is populating. It's watching what you do. When I start to interact with Mari Smith, it's telling me, you like Mari Smith. Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to start getting ads from Mari Smith, okay? And people like Mari Smith, which I'm okay with, because I think she's interesting, and I think people who are creating similar content, that's helpful. This is what I'm recreating for you guys. Now, got to go down here. This is super important as well. Advertisers in business. Here's what you're going to see. This is something I have to do over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because the Americans for Prosperity, which is a Republican marketing group from Oklahoma, thinks I'm their target market. I don't even think I've ever been to Oklahoma, but I'm really not their target market. These guys repopulate all the time. Splenda? You kidding me? Go away. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what this is. Big Sky, I know. Outside, I know. Danny Johnson, I know. I don't know what that is. Later. Padres, good. Best way, no. Cheetos. Yeah, Cheetos. That's what I'm into. It's Cheetos, for sure. Kidding me? There's so much of this crap, and this hasn't been this long. I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what you are, what you are, what you are. Don't know you. Don't care about Huggies. Are you kidding me? My daughter's graduating from college this year. Huggies? Missouri Americans for Prosperity. These keep coming back. I'll do this later, but you get the idea. This is all crap. Actually, Entrepreneur, I'm interested in. This is all crap that is populating your news feed with garbage. Okay? This is super important, okay? This is where you see, these are advertisers whose ads you've clicked on and whom you've hidden. I don't need to see that. Look at how many, if I scroll down here, there's hundreds of them. It's endless. There's hundreds of them. Now, so that's the first thing, is going in your ad settings. Next thing it's super important to do, and again, if you're not doing this, A, you're not using Facebook properly, and B, your account may be insecure. And I don't think you want an insecure account. Apps and websites. These are the apps that are authorized to talk to my Facebook, okay? Active. It's Yelp. It's Trace, which is a GPS tracker, which they're out of business, I think. And I want to delete all the posts because I share stuff from Trace here. It's like if I went surfing and I caught 15 waves, I can share that easily. Beachbody Challenge. Yeah, I want that up there, right? you can set, this is where you control all your privacy settings. Here's expired, right? These things had limited time permissions, like Airbnb, limited time permissions. You could always grant them permission again. iMovie had a limited time. iPhoto, same thing. I actually want to, I want to renew that. That's why I can't share photos from iPhoto. I want to renew the access. Cool. That'll expire at some point and I'll have to do it again. Look at removed. All these companies had access to me. Are you kidding me? I don't think I want Tinder having access to me anymore. That would have been a long, long time ago. I can't even believe I ever granted them access in the first place, right? It's all this stuff that's in here. And I'll tell you right now, if you're doing these quizzes all the time about like, what kind of cheese are you? Or, you know, if you were a gopher, what would your name be? You know, if you were a leprechaun, what would your name be? You're granting access to and you click through it on Facebook. You grant access to these people and they have access to all your data. It's a little bit better now that now the privacy things have been ratcheted down after what happened with the election, but your data is not secure if these people have access to your Facebook. So you've got to go in and clean all this up. Beyond that, it's just showing you garbage. This is the time to do it right now, okay? Because it's changing. We're already on mobile with this thing, okay? I already could have potentially lost some stuff. So you need to go in and you need to do this social media audit. So that's first thing. Limit your groups. Second thing, get in there, see who do you have set to see first, who do you need to unfollow, who do you need to snooze, then looking at your ad settings and interests and making sure that they're set up correctly, okay? Because if they're not, again, you're just not using Facebook in a meaningful way that's gonna make your life better, and also make sure it's secure. Just from a security perspective, you need to do that, okay? But also just tailor your Facebook experience. What happens when you start editing all this stuff? Okay, when you go in and edit this stuff, Facebook goes, ooh, crap, we've been showing you the wrong thing. We don't want to show you the wrong thing. We want to show you the right thing. So show us what you want to see. Okay, so for me, like as an example, Padres, right? You can see I have 4 Padres hats. I want to see more Padres stuff. So what do? I interact with Padres. I share Padres, okay? And it goes, oh, you're a Padres fan. And then it starts to go, okay, maybe you're a baseball fan. Do you want to buy some stuff from people who produce like baseball clothing? Like not MLB stuff, but like there's like, you know, these companies that, you know, they're like old timey baseball clothes and stuff. No, I don't. Why? And they go, okay, I get it. I get it now. I get it. You only like the Padres. You don't care what the rest of the league is doing. You only like the Padres, which is true. I've had to tailor that. Okay. That's how you get there to the point where I only see stuff about the Padres because that's all I care about. And I just hid the other stuff. When I get ads for the old tiny baseball clothes, I just hide them and tell them this is irrelevant to me. Then they go away and they stop and they try to figure out, okay, well, what does he want to see? Right. And then I tailor the experience to myself and it becomes much more meaningful. And I'm also, if you think about the change, right? I'm not just doing that from an ad perspective. If I leave all this crap in there, and then I go to this section, let me show you again. Yeah, if I go in here, right, to groups and discover, which is where I'm gonna be looking for people to go to dinner with if you're following my analogy there, this is gonna be garbage. None of this stuff is gonna apply to me because I haven't taken the time to tell Facebook what I'm interested in. Okay, but instead, what's the stuff that comes up? There was that Padres group that came up. It's fitness stuff, right? It's San Diego stuff because it knows where I live. It's not, you know, the Oklahoma Republican Party trying to point ads at me or point other content at me, which I don't want because I don't live in Oklahoma. And I don't care, right? I have to take responsibility for that. You've got to take responsibility for your Facebook. So that's the big update with Facebook. I hope that's helpful. I'm sorry we had issues with the live on Facebook. I'm going to end this now. Unless anybody has questions, I'll end it now and we'll get the recording up in the group and everybody else can take a look at it. Thanks for your time. I really want you to take this seriously. This is a really seminal change. And again, that big thing of like, they led with Messenger. Like they led with Messenger and it just tells you so much about what's coming in the future and this idea, this kind of references to integration, starting with close friends, being able to integrate Messenger in with you know, your people who are on WhatsApp and people who are on Instagram, and they grant you permissions. And now we have this dinner party thing. We're going to be interacting there on Messenger. I don't know if I made that clear earlier, but that's really the idea, is that when you get a group chat going, which is what we would call that now, right? It's like you and, I don't know, you've got a couple of friends who I have one great example. Mike Karpinko, I see, is on here. We have a group chat for, it's called My Skiing Friends, or it's called My Skiing Idiots or Friends, is our group chat for organizing ski trips, right? Well, we interact there, but it's just text and like maybe sharing a video or a GIF or something like that. This is more like that'll be a group. It'll be a group, and it'll happen on Messenger, not on Facebook. It'll happen on Messenger, separate, standalone app on your desktop. Interesting. So that's the update. I hope that is helpful. As I find more, I'm diving in deep with this, as you can probably tell. As I find new stuff, I'll be bringing you new stuff. The biggest thing I want to harp on you to do right now is go do that audit. Okay, so there it is. Hope that's helpful. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys next week when we might have a guest speaker. I'm working on somebody pretty cool. So